West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. I'm one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, and you join me. I am back. I'm back in London town. Look at this new layout. Look at this new layout for the podcast studio, otherwise known as my bedroom. We got the three colours there. We got the new West Indies limited overs jersey. Then we got the Talawars jersey. Apparently, Talawars are coming back next year to CPL. Then we got the old Sandals jersey on top. Listen, people, little quick one today. Obviously, I'm back in London town. My summer of traveling around watching 1W and loads of L's. In fact, how many W's did I get? If we start with the island part of the tour, I got 3 W's this summer, 3 W's and loads of L's. And I'm back now. We're retired. I'm looking at the diary and I'm trying to see. Listen up, people. I'm looking at the diary. Check this out. There is an outside chance. I was looking at it the other day. Check this out for madness. There is an outside chance that I could go to the second test in India. I've looked at my diary, and there is a chance that I could get to that second test in India. Outside chance. Should I do it? What I'm more looking at is I've never been to New Zealand before or Australia. I'm more looking at, should I try and save up money and make it to New Zealand? It would be a once in a lifetime trip. Never done again. What is it? Is it like 12 hours to Singapore or 10 hours to Dubai, then the next 12 hours to New Zealand or Australia? That sounds long. I'm just trying to weigh it up. The other reason why I feel like I need to go to New Zealand is because my longtime friend and longtime supporter of the podcast and of Bromley Football Club, so our lives are entwined in more ways than one, Kev Eames, my longtime friend, he passed away about a month or so ago in New Zealand, and we had made plans that I was going to go to New Zealand in 2025, meet up with him and his lovely wife and children, and obviously tragically Kev passed away, and there's a part of me which just feels like I owe it to him to try and get to New Zealand later on this year and do homage the right way. So I'm thinking about it, people. I'm thinking about different trips. Maybe 2025 and watching West Indies isn't over for me. Watch this space. Now, listen, people, this particular episode's a quick one because over the last few weeks or so, possibly even the last month, I've been saying to people on different episodes and different forums, not the cricket forum, but different forums with regards to West Indies cricket, saying what we've got underneath our first choice squad when it comes to T20 cricket isn't actually very strong. And I've been saying it. And the problem is, I know that some people, when they listen to me say stuff on Caribbean Cricket Podcast, because they may not have agreed with some other stuff that I've said, it means that they don't listen when they actually need to listen. This is one of these episodes where you really need to listen. Of course, I'm expecting that after I've done this, some people try and do the same kind of concept. But let me just get this off the record, right? I spent on the plane over from Florida and some of today when I wasn't jet lagged, I said, who are the next best players? And I created the next generation. I don't even know why I've called the next generation, because some of the players in this are actually old relative to in terms of cricket ages, right? But this is the next best 11 cricketers in T20 cricket in the region, according to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Now, before I show you my 11, let me explain the criteria. Please listen carefully. Let me explain the criteria. I was only allowed to choose players who have not represented West Indies recently. So that's why you won't see people like Carl Mayers. You won't see people like Casey Carty. You won't see people like, who else did I remove? Obed McCoy. You won't see any of those people because although they're not currently, I mean, Cartiers, although they're not currently in the West Indies T20 setup, they have represented West Indies at least in the last, year to year and a half or so. So I consider them part of the wider pool. I'm talking about the next 11 players who are currently not part of the current pool or wider pool of T20 cricketers in the region. All I'm going to do is, I'm not even going to produce, just trust me that when I put this list together, it was based on actual research. I'm not going to put down their stats on the screen. If you doubt the level of research that I did for this, go away and look at their stats. Go away and look at, at their stats yourself. And then in the comments below, come with factual evidence that disproves somebody who I've put in the 11. Some of the people that I've put in the 11 is based on my eye test and the pure potential that I've seen with my eyes that suggests they're probably they're part of the next best 11 in the region after the current pool and wider extended pool. When I've given you this 11, I then want you to ask yourself, when I've given you this 11, I then want you to think about why I might have said to you that we are stuck where we're at. All of these uncles and aunties and any dunces that have been saying, the T20 team should be much better, and this, that, and the third. After I've shown you the next best 11 players in the region in T20 cricket, maybe you might start to think, maybe what we've got is all we've got. That doesn't excuse anybody. That doesn't mean you shouldn't hold anybody accountable, but it should mean that you're then aware of context to understand why we might be doing what we're doing. Bear in mind that in previous episodes as well, I've said that we've got clear, glaring issues in our T20 team, which have no immediate solution. We don't really have a middle order of genuine, I was about to say power hitters. Yeah, because in fact, no, I'm going to call it power hitters because our power hitters they're not even in the upper echelons of power hitters in world cricket anymore, right? So we don't genuinely have any power hitters in the middle order or consistent power hitters. We don't have anybody that can destroy spin bowling. The team collectively, no matter who you picks, looks out of its depth when it has to face spin bowling. Obviously, Pooran has retired. We don't have any death bowlers. We don't have a wrist spinner. We're struggling to finish overs. We've got a myriad of problems which aren't easily solved by just saying sack the captain and sack the coach. But again, generally speaking, in West Indies cricket, people want simple answers to complex situations. People, here are the 11. Number 1, and this is in position order. In fact, let me put myself in the corner of the screen. Let me even take myself out. How do I do this again? Let's do it this way. Number one, Kofi James. If we're talking about the next best 11 in the region, Kofi James is one of my 2 openers. Again, I'm not producing the stats to support this because, frankly, I don't need to. I'm sure some of you are going to get in the comments and go, this is just your opinion. I've done my research. This isn't based on just randomly saying some random names. I've done my research. Everybody I have picked in this list in terms of a batter has a strike rate that suggests there's somebody worth developing. By no means am I saying any of these players are the finished article. I'm just saying if there was to be a drastic injury crisis or worse, because a lot of our T20 team are the other side of 30, right? Once we get the retirement of the current 30-year-olds and above in the T20 team, this looks like being the next lot to come through. Opener number 1, Kofi James. Opener number 2, Johan Jeremiah. Again, if you study the stats and you look at his, not just run production, but again, we've got to look at strike rate. If you disagree with either Jeremiah or James, please tell me somebody who fits the criteria that isn't currently in the West Indies setup and isn't considered part of the general wider pool of West Indian cricketers. I think these are the next best 2 openers you could go to from the next gen. Kofi James Johan Jeremiah. Number 3, Kevlon Anderson. Now, Kevlon does not have a good enough strike rate for me to actually consider him a number 3 in T20 cricket. So for me, what this shows is the paucity of options available. But when I studied all my numbers, when I crunched all my data, when I looked at my eye test, Kevlon was the next best bet at number 3. So Kevlon Anderson, number 3. Number 4, Shakir Paris. He's already had a lot of CPL opportunities. Well, I'll say a lot. He's had some CPL opportunities. He's shown bits and pieces in past CPLs. Obviously, he's yet to have the full. He's yet to have the full. What do I want to say here? Consistency that suggests that we must turn to Shakir Paris now. But he's on my list of the next best 11 once you go past the wider West Indian T20 pool. Number 5. Jid Gooley. Jid Gooley was actually called up to come to Ireland earlier in the year, but there was visa issues because obviously Trinidad and Tobago are now on the down bad visa list to get into the UK, along with the Yardmen, right? So Jid, there was visa issues. He couldn't make it into Ireland. Now, you could argue that means that Jid Gooley is already part of a West Indian wider pool, and possibly he is, and maybe that means I should have disqualified him from entry to this list. But I thought, given he never actually made it to Ireland, we can include Jid Gooley. And obviously he counts as an all-rounder as well, certainly in the context of down bad West Indian cricket. Wicketkeeper and number 6, Joshua Da Silva. Some people will cuss this decision and say, how can Josh be in the next best list of T20 cricketers outside the wider West Indian pool? When I was looking for wicketkeepers, he was my only option. And in fairness to Josh, in the breakout league, he had a good strike rate. I think it was 140 plus. Granted, that's the breakout league. But the point is, name me a better wicketkeeper. So Joshua Da Silva is number 6. Number 7, all-rounder, spinner, Fabian Allen. Now, here's where I've tested the criteria, because some people will say, Mash, Fabian Allen is, as you can see by his jersey, is already a West Indian international. Yes, he is, but he hasn't played. When's the last time Fabian Allen played for the West Indies? At least 3.5 years ago. So he's not even, for me, part of the wider pool because he's due to injuries, loss of form. I think there was a family bereavement as well. Fabian is out of the loop when it comes to West Indies cricket. So he qualifies for me when we're talking about the next best 11 outside of the current West Indies T20 side and wider West Indian T20 pool. So Fabian Allen makes my list at number 7. Obviously, he's a finisher, hence why I've put him at number 7. He's a triple threat because he can bowl his left-arm darts at different phases of the game, middle overs, power play, and he's the best fielder in the Caribbean when fit. Number 8. Joshua James. Now, obviously, Joshua James has just been done for pelting, so currently can't bowl anyway. I think his action is under remedial repair, etc. So I'm talking about this when Joshua James is no longer pelting. He's in my team as one of my pacers. And obviously he's at number 8 because he can also hit a long ball, right? So he's probably, when he's not pelting, certainly the best seaming all-round option for me. So Joshua James enters my list as well. Hopefully he gets his pelting action fixed because he's a double threat player when he's no longer pelting. I just want to say that I did have Shamar Springer in this position initially. Why did I take Springer out? I think I was supposed to put Springer and James on the screen at the same time. So if you disagree with my Joshua James pick because of the pelting, then you could have Shamar Springer instead. Now, obviously, Shamar Springer played for the West Indies, I think a year ago. So that's why I'm in an R-ing about Springer, because I was like, well, he did actually play for the West Indies within the last year. So I don't know if he counts for my criteria. So I think in the end, I went for Joshua James. Number 9, my wrist spinner, Navin Badesi. Impressed with him in the breakout league. Obviously, lots of Trinis are talking about Navin Badesi. He's with the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots for this year's CPL. Watch this guy closely. There's some people who will call Micah McKenzie and say he's the leg spinner or wrist spinner that we should be focusing on. But I'm going for the experienced guy. instead. And I also think that Navin has a bit more variations and a bit more control of his craft because he's more experienced. So Navin Badesi is up next on my list at number 9, and he can bat as well. So my team has batting all the way down to 9. 10, my pacer, my out and out pacer, Johan Lane. So Johan Lane is my out and out pacer on the team. So he would be supported by Joshua James when he's not pelting, and my last pick as well. This team is weak when it comes to pace, by the way, and not. Actually, Lane should be 11. Sorry, I'm coming back to Lane. He should be number 11 because if this is in batting order, Lane shouldn't be at number 11. So number 10 is actually Nathan Edward. So he's my left arm seamer. Initially, I had Obed McCoy on my list, but again, I'm like, well, Obed McCoy is considered part of the wider West Indian pool. I shouldn't really have him there. So I've got Nathan Edward at number 10 because obviously he can bat as well, right? So Nathan Edwards at 10. He's my left arm seamer. He's on my next best 11 or future generation list. And then number 11, my out and out pacer, is Johan Lane. Okay. Now, when I look at this team, so just to go back through the list again, because some of you don't like to pay attention, Kofi James, Johan Jeremiah, Kevlon Anderson, Shakir Paris, Jid Gooley, Joshua Da Silva, Fabian Allen, Joshua James, Navin Badesi, Nathan Edward, Johan Lane. Now, in this team, I have one genuine pacer, which is my issue with this team, which is Johan Lane. I just want to point out that I ummed and ahed about putting McKenny Clark in the team so that I had 2 out-and-out pacers, but then I couldn't work out who to drop. So I don't want anyone cussing saying, where's this guy, where's that guy? I did have consideration for McKenny Clark, but I couldn't work out who to drop for him. So my one out-and-out pacer is Johan Lane. He's then supported in the pace by Nathan Edward and a non-pelting Joshua James. So that's my 3 pacers. Then my wrist spinner is Badesi. And then my spinning all-rounders, I would get... So Lane, James, and Edward give you 12 overs. Badesi would give you 4 of wrist spin, 16. But then, within my team, I also have the option of Fabian Allen, Jid Gooley, and Kofi James, who could also offer me spin options in case any of those other guys couldn't handle the bowling. So effectively, I've got 4 frontline bowlers and 3 part-timers. I don't think Fabian Allen's a part-timer, but 3 all-rounders, in Fabian Allen, Jid Gooley, and Kofi James to supplement what the 4 frontline bowlers have. And then in the batting, I really like how deep my team bats. Fabian at 7, Joshua James at 8, Badesi at 9, Nathan Edward at 10. So we bat all the way down to 10. But then when I look at my top 6, I'm like, there's no power hitting in there. Kofi James can utilize the power play for sure. But then you're looking at Jeremiah, Anderson, Shakir Paris has done some stuff in CPL, Jid Gooley and Josh Da Silva. It's not really an explosive top 6. But then when I was looking and studying all my data and my strike rates, I couldn't find no one else. Some people might say Kadima Lane, but he's an opener. The hardest thing to do in this team was to find a number 3 to number 6. And I'm self-admitting that Kevlon Anderson, Shakir Paris, Jid Gooley, Josh Da Silva does not scream power. And it doesn't scream ability to deal with spin bowling in the middle overs, etc., etc. And this almost is my point. When you look cuss and say, let me bring this off the screen for now. When you look cuss and get on and say, and Sammy should have picked this man and that man, and the options are limited. 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 Do you know how much work I had to do to find the next best 11? And after I wrote it down, I was just looking at my list going, Jaja. So we can cuss, we can all cuss, and we can all get on and say T20 side this, and Sammy should have done that, and Shea Hope can't captain for this, and the players we've got are the players we've got. So now what are we going to do? If you disagree with my list, by all means, get in the comments below. Tell me you forgot this person, you forgot that person. But the wider question you should be asking yourself is this. If that is the next best 11 in West Indies T20 cricket, if you accept that on the whole, my team is actually basically accurate, and that's the next best 11 in T20 cricket, what are you expecting our current lot to do? When the World Cup comes around in 7 months' time or whatever in Sri Lanka and India, what are you realistic? Forget the coach. Just let's assume we're being coached by the best coach in the world. What are you realistically expecting our lot to do, given that I've just given you what the next best 11 are? And let's say we have a spate of retirements after the World Cup in 2026. That's the next best 11 we've got. So what are you really expecting from our T20 side? Listen, I've been Machel St. Patrick here. As ever, people, like, share, subscribe. You can find us on all the social media handles, every single one: Twitter, X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. What am I missing? Discord. To be a Discord member, you have to join the Patreon. You can become a patron by going to www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket. As soon as you become a patron, as in a paid patron, you get the access link to the Discord group, which is where the CCP special community reside. That's where you get some updates on stuff and some heads up to things that we might tweet about, but we tell the Discord group before we tell anybody else, etc. What else? Yeah, if you're somebody who likes to study trends and patterns, then I recommend you joining Parlay Pros. Parlay Pros is a high-tech data algorithm tool run by some guys out of Trinidad, really good guys out of Trinidad, and they basically tell you all the trends and patterns for sports and athletes. So, for example, if you look at like the NBA, obviously it's not on right now, they would tell you through their algorithm tool, high-tech data algorithm tool, what is the trend for this player over the last 20 games. And then as a result, if you're somebody who then wants to go and flutter with that, you can use that data to help you. Parlay Pros is not a betting company. You can't bet with them. They just provide the data. It's up to you to use that data how you so choose. You may just be somebody who wants to actually just have the data because you're a stats guy. You can use it for that as well. All the information is in the descriptor below. Click the necessary links. And if you don't want to become a patron, and if you don't want to become a patron, but you do want to support the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, you can also head to Buy Me a Coffee. Again, links in the descriptor below. You can click that, etc. But at the very least, people, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. All of that stuff helps the algorithms. As ever, next step, 14K. We're just about to hit 20K on X. We're about 20 people away from 20,000 followers on X. So if you don't yet follow us on X and you are on X, go and follow us there as well. Caribbean Cricket Podcast, can't stop. What did I say? Did I say podcast? Caribbean Cricket Podcast, can't stop, won't stop. See you all very, very soon.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket.